Well, my next step is I got to pull this wheel well here, and the only thing holding it in is a couple of those round plastic plugs and a Phillips screw. So let me get that Phillips out. Alright, so I've got a couple of these plugs. Okay, now that fender well ought to just come out of there. Oh, one more Phillips. A little screw here, and it requires a 7/32. Okay. One more. Okay, now we're looking a little better. Alright, now we've got more access. So again, I got to use this 7/32 to remove these little screws here, because I got to drop that pan that is under that alternator. So let me try that. Okay. That required pulling 2 screws. Alright, we're getting closer. Well, folks, after all that, I still ain't touched the alternator with my hands. Let's see, I think the only step I didn't show y'all is I just moved the serpentine belt out of the way, but I'd already shown you how to take it loose. So, I'm going to take a break for a minute. I'm going to have me some more cold water. Get all kinds of organized. Find the tools I need. That, by the way, was a 7/32 little socket I had on a nut driver handle. So let me chill for a few minutes. Let me get my ducks in a row, and we'll be back. Well, folks, let me show you the next step. I ended up going over to Harbor Freight buying some special tools to do this with. Where you gotta get to is I don't know why the stud has threads so long sticking out. I don't know, but because it does, you can't get a deep well socket down here. So let me show you what we got. And the tool that I'm using to do the job. Right there is the bolt, and I don't have any idea why they put this in here with all them threads sticking out, except you can put a couple of nuts on there and jam them up so you could work further away. However, because I don't know what size bolt that is, I don't know what size threads, I can't do that until I get this thing off. So let me show you the kit I bought. Well folks, I went to Harbor Freight and I picked up a set of sockets that have the through hole in them, because what we got to get to now is a bolt down here on top of this alternator. Now those of you that's super duper mechanics, you know, you're not gonna like my videos because I'm really taking this step by step. I got so frustrated watching these guys, and they'd film it after they'd already gone through all the hassle of getting these bolts out. They didn't tell you how to do that. So let me show you what we're doing. Way down there is that stud that's got to come out, and that is an 18 millimeter. The wrench required is 18 millimeter. So I'm going to slip this on there. I've already broke it loose, so I know it works fine, but I'm going to slip this on there and show y'all how this works. Okay. So that wrench, that socket, is on that bolt now, and now it's just a matter of, you know, ratcheting it off of there. Well, I can't hold the camera and do that at the same time, but I'll come back to it here in a minute. Okay, after I broke it free with the ratchet, I was actually able to go ahead and twist that on out just with my fingers. So that was nice. So that's one bolt. We'll come back here whenever I get to another. Okay, so back underneath the car again. And let me zoom in here and show you this bolt we're going to take out. It's that one right there. And I tried to use a socket and a ratchet, and I just wasn't man enough. So, haha. Let me put this electric impact on it. By God. That's how you get it off of there. Okay. I'll be back with the next one. You want to know why they call it mechanics language? I'll show you why. Let me get this position down here where you can see it. That bun of a stitches. Oh. Man. Well, way down under there, it's really hard for you to see with a camera because it's hard for me to get the right angle on it. But that little nut right there is about a 13 millimeter. And then once it comes off, there's a bracket that's holding this thing on. Then when you get that bracket off of it and out of the way, then there's the same bolt like there was when I first took it off. So let me see if I can get a wrench on it. Oh man. Alright. Well, the wrench is on the nut, and I'm just having to walk it off like 1/8 of a turn at a time. So I'll be back when I get that one nut off of there. Anyway, This is how I'm walking that nut off of there. I've used 2 or 3 different wrenches to get it different amounts. So now then we're down to the serpentine belt handle and just a socket, 13mm socket. So that's all I'm doing. I'm just taking it loose a little bit at a time. We'll be back. Well, folks, you've seen me get 2 bolts out of the alternator, and then I've spent I don't know how long trying to get 1 nut off of the 3rd bolt. I'll show you what I'm talking about. This item right here is held in place. Let's see if I find that little flashlight. Where'd it go? Where's my little flash? There it is. This thing right here is held in place with a bracket that slips over right there. No. Right there. Now this is a bolt and stud similar, or just like the one I took out of the front of the alternator over here. Thing is, trying to find enough room to get this, whatever it is, something to do with the power steering, I think, or air conditioner, I don't know. But I'm trying to get enough room to be able to get a wrench in there. So we'll be back. What a pain in the patoot. Okay, we can actually get a wrench on this. Apologize, it's hard for you to see, but there's really no way to actually film this. But anyway, this wrench is on that bolt. So let me try to get it off. Might take another freaking hour, I don't know. Well, how y'all doing, folks? I'm back. Whew. I took a 2-day break. I wore out my knees and my ankles and my back trying to fight this daggum alternator. I finally said, I just can't go no more. So come out here this morning, or I guess it's afternoon now. It's only in the 60s. It's so nice. We finally got us some rain. And got here trying to get this last bolt out of this alternator. And would you believe that after only 4 or 5 little bits, you know, that you could grab at a time on that bolt with a wrench, just about 4 or 5 of these little motions, about that far, then I could reach down there with my fingers and twist the bolt out. So it ain't one thing, it's another. Well, I'm going to show y'all what this alternator looks like down here in its position before I attempt to remove it, or at least get it in position to take the wiring off the back of it. Okay, let me show you what we got. Okay, the alternator is sitting there at a bit of an angle. Now, what I have to do is actually lift up on this alternator and rotate it to where I'm bringing that pulley up to the top position here. In other words, I've got to rotate this alternator, that pulley, up and towards the engine in order to get this thing to come out. I'll try to set this camera where you can see something. I don't know if we can or not, but we'll try. Alright. The alternator is right down there. Now I'm going to go down below here and see if I can't do what them people say you're supposed to do. And that's to push up on the alternator and rotate it. If I was standing at the front bumper looking towards the rear of the car, I would be rotating it in a clockwise direction. Let's see what happens. Okay, right here is the alternator. After pulling that third bolt, it finally come down. I do want to tell you in the future, this bolt down here, the one that was accessible under here, should be the last one you take off. Because the upper ones, once you got them good and loose, you could take them out by hand, just with your fingers. But because I didn't have this bolt in, it allowed this alternator to hang down and put weight against that other stud, so it made it difficult to get it out. So, let me see if I can do it like them young people did it. Now that I have the alternator turned, there's the connection for the battery wire. And there's also, hard to show you on the camera, but there's a, yeah, there it is, there's a plug right down there. And that's got to be unplugged. So let me get those connections out. Warning you ahead of time. If you got tender ears, you don't want to hear no mechanic talking, no mechanic language, you might want to just leave right now. But I got that sumbitch out of there. Oh. Do want to show you that the connections on here was just one nut, and this plug right here just unplugs straight out. There's no little locking tab on it or anything like. Well, there is, but anyway, it just pulled straight out. Look at this damn thing. Long ass ears on it. God, what a pain in the ass. Oh, somebody replaced this before because this is remanufactured. Well, I may just break down and buy a new one. Because if it's already been rebuilt once, I don't know how good it'd be the second time. Bearings sound good in it though. We'll see. See how much core is on it. Oh. Anyway, they can get me a new one for $115. So, I have to study on it. Gotta see how much it costs to rebuild it. Anyway, it's out of there. Finally. Oh. Alright. The next part, I'll be trying to put it back in, okay? If this ain't been a pain in the rear end, I don't know what has. Oh, yeah, since it's the end of this part, y'all have a wonderful day and a better tomorrow. I might just have to drink some wine.